It's our favorite day, everybody. Yep, Friday, and it's your Rate Slayer, Buffy. I'm back with the third episode of the September Weekly Market Insight Series, which is coming directly from the Capital Markets Trading Desk at SunWest Mortgage Company. So before diving into this week's market news, let me take this opportunity to tell you some exciting news. SunWest Mortgage Company has partnered with the president of the Oppenheim Group and Selling Sunset star, Jason Oppenheim, to promote and utilize our groundbreaking technology, the Morgan, the smartest application developed by our Celligence International LLC. And I can proudly confirm Jason Oppenheim is pretty eager to showcase how this novel application is truly redefining the U.S. mortgage industry. There is no doubt, paired with SunWest's True Approval platform, Morgan and its AI technology is reversing the traditional home buying processes, removing many home buying hurdles, and expanding fair lending and equality in real estate ownership. Now, go ahead and try it for yourself. Okay, so let's dive into the world of news now. Concerns about jumbo Fed rate hikes persist. Finally, we wound up another busy, dramatic week. The latest stream of economic data gave so many reasons to the Fed for holding up reasonably well in the face of steep interest rate hikes and historically high inflation, giving policymakers more reason to extend their aggressive increase in borrowing costs. The trading session is getting more risky. S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100 futures have turned negative and are trading at session lows. Treasury yields climbed back to their highest levels in several years. A gauge of the dollar briefly touched the session lows as all GT peers surged except for the yen. Moving on, let's see what else is under the surface. We got the latest inflation data this week, and it was pretty terrible. U.S. inflation came out to be firmer than expected in August, likely to keep the Federal Reserve on track for a third straight 75 basis point interest rate hike, or even more. The Consumer Price Index increased 0.1% from July after no change in the prior month. From a year earlier, prices climbed 8.3%, a slight deceleration, largely due to recent declines in gasoline prices. On the flip side, another measure of U.S. producer prices fell for a second month in August as fuel costs continued to retreat. The Producer Price Index for final demand decreased 0.1% from a month earlier and increased 8.7% from a year ago. Markets are also digesting the implication of Ukraine's counteroffensive after its forces continued their rapid advance in the Kharkiv region, exploiting a retreat of Russian defenses. Meanwhile, the U.S. is preparing another package of aid to Ukraine. The International Energy Agency trimmed its estimates for global demand, while the U.S. administration is deliberating over when to refill the strategic oil reserve. West Texas Intermediate crude is trading around $87 a barrel. Applications for U.S. unemployment insurance fell for a fifth straight week, suggesting demand for workers remains healthy despite an uncertain economic outlook. Initial unemployment claims decreased by 5,000 in the week ending September 10th. Interestingly enough, the rising inflation isn't off-tracking the American consumers from shopping. Retail sales unexpectedly rose in August. The value of overall retail purchases increased 0.3% last month after dropping 0.4% in July. U.S. factory production rose 0.1% in August as resilient business investment offset a pullback in the output of the consumer goods consistent with steady manufacturing activity. Now let's talk about the housing market. The mortgage market is no stranger to excitement in 2022. Unfortunately, it hasn't been the good kind of excitement. That's especially true of the past few weeks as rate hikes pushed back up to long-term highs. NBA mortgage application index fell 1.2 in the week ending September 9th after falling 0.8 in the prior week. Purchases up 0.2 after falling 0.7. Refinance fell 4.2 after falling 1.1%. Chair Jerome Powell said last week that the central bank will act forthrightly to achieve price stability, and some policymakers voiced support for another 75 basis point rate hike. However, some experts have also mentioned an exceptionally high 100 BPS hike next week. Former Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers supported the same. Officials have said their decision next week will be based on the totality of the economic data they have on hand, which includes a strong labor market, high inflation print, and steady consumer spending. So that's all we have for the week. Please join me again for more market updates, figures of various important economic data, updated status of geopolitical nervousness, and much more. Stay updated with our news, and our trading desk will keep you informed with our pricing incentives. Good Friday, folks. Have a great weekend. Buffy out.